Yeah, cool. I
this
mean,
is happening. Oh, as soon as saw a little bit of action, saw a little blink. I can still look over
I'm
my
gonna
my
move the
cards in
stack
my hand.
over. Dude, if you have a pet, I can't see it behind the stack. You know, my pet, I click on my pet. My pet is working perfectly, right? So, like, it's only that part of the game that's laggy.
I suppose the active
I
hourglass is thinking.
I see you moving through your hand.
It's asking me to confirm, but it won't give me an option. Oh, there we go. Here we go.
They do not seem to have plus and catchers on them.
Now to check with her.
She just says each other
Each.
creature you control, so they should be getting counters. Ah. It's funny though, right? Because those ones they should also have summoning sickness, and they don't.
Why would they have summoning sickness?
Because they just came into play.
Oh, summoning sickness. Right. I'm like, right, right.
They should have summoning sickness and plus one counters on them. They should you should have a pile of those, but I think Scoot Swarm is the pure reason why Arena put the token limit. You know, it is funny. If you had like a Smothering Tithe right now and I didn't pay for it, you wouldn't get any treasure tokens.
Why didn't I draw any cards?
Huh?
Is the game really suffering right now?
It looks like it actually.
Well, I'm not satisfied. You know what?
I'm not satisfied.
I'm not satisfied. So, wow, we're really upsetting the system right now. So, this time, oh god.
Try to
Where
do
is it?
something else.
Oh my god.
You have Teo card sleeves.
That's where yeah. So, um, what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to put the evolution sage last to see. I know it's not going to trigger it, but it should have triggered it. To do this, I have to hold the evolution sage down, left click, and use my mouse wheel to roll to put it all the way at the end to put it to last.
Oh,
There's a lot of scoop
oh,
swarms,
is that?
and here we go. So again, we're just kind of testing the limitations of hardware and software, and
Yeah, we are. We are testing the limitations.
yeah, asking the real questions. What are you programming? Why are you adding rain and leaves in the background? You can't
Yeah, yeah. You
handle.
noticed that, right? That stuff's working perfectly fine. The raindrops, right? Your cat pet hissing at me, my dragon pet being all happy, right?
Hey,
But
hey.
this stack though, this stack's not.
Somewhere between basic functionality and what I wanted to do with Magic, the game seems to be overwhelmed, and I'm really confused by that. It shouldn't be. This is what the game is supposed to do, right? Like, it seems to me it would be a simple thing to have the paper text version of what's going on happening very easily, while at the same time being able to process it separately from the graphical requirement. I don't know.
If you hold shift and press enter, you just pass the turn.
I do feel like a lot of effort is put into a lot of directions, and then I get mad when I see a direction like this. And it's like, it shouldn't take that amount of time. It shouldn't,
My quality level
like,
is set to low.
oh, dude, no, I'm egregiously mad. Egregiously,
Egregiously mid.
egregiously mad. Like, it's ridiculous. This would be acceptable on my 512 megabyte video card. That would be acceptable there. We're not even doing huge graphic interactions. It's just poor foresight that this is even a probability, and what's the likely it's a probability versus your product is fucking crapping out, yo. Just add a clear, like, a simple clear function. How many times does it go off, right? It could have one up there and just have it times this as opposed to animating this endlessly, which does nobody any benefit.
Actually, what's even worse or whatever, right, is that since it knows, right, that it can't produce a token, because it's not producing a token,
Right.
it should just be like, can't produce token, that's it.
Right. And what kills me is it knows the cards when we start the match. So if there were special rules to these cards, it could have them in place already. It's not like it has to do it against every card in Magic, just against the 200 cards that we're playing. What are the circumstances? Half the time it's me and you being like, oh, I read that wrong. It just seems like we're getting cheated. Alright, so I don't even have a fucking win condition. This is destroying me. Hold on.
Dude, you have 250 Scoot Swarms.
It's not a win condition.
Oh, it's not. I don't even have a. I'm sorry that you don't have a Crater Hook yet. Play more creatures to draw some cards.
I'm thinking about it.
Oh, okay, you actually did. I don't know if the game's gonna let you.
I got 8 more cards, so it's like, this is the turn, dude. If I wait, I'm gonna accidentally mill myself, So,
Yeah. Well. Well, now you got 5 more cards.
Oh god, I almost did it just to do it. I was gonna play Karn's Bastion, but like, for what?
To pull Lipper.
Just to fuck with your emotions.
I mean,
It's really not a bad card.
What, Karn's Bastion?
Oh, it's not on your screen yet?
Oh, there it is. Oh. Got the Explorer. You can play those extra lands.
Oh no. Oh no. It's over.
What?
It's over. You ready to see it be over?
Yeah.
Okay. This is what didn't hit the field that I wish hit the field earlier.
Boom.
Because now...
Now you guys all tap for 2 mana.
Well, there's that, but specifically... Come on, game. Ostensibly.
They're like, I'm gonna tap 4 of my dudes to put a +1/+1 counter on each of my other dudes.
Right. And then we really kind of get to the bottom of did they get the proliferate bonus or not?
Oh, I don't think they got the
I want to be clear. Once I have this answer and it kind of goes, right?
Oh, look, that was quick.
I can literally play everything in my hand, so they all had haste.
Well, the Scoot
So-
Swarms,
so-
the Scoot Swarms now can tap for mana.
Now, yes, but so ready? Here we go with the real question now. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
So if I play another land, is it gonna overrate the +1/+1s, or will it?
No, it'll
Uh,
just be it'll be those tokens. You won't get any new tokens.
okay. Well, when this is all said and done, I'm gonna try to do the attack. Try, and we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna try to do it in a backward sense.
I'm gonna go back to watching my coffee episode because this game's not gonna this game's not gonna load these triggers. This
Well,
game's gonna end in a draw.
I gotta see it. I gotta see it happen. Again, and I can't stress it enough, like, I feel like this would kind of be acceptable if we were running it on a DOS system. Oh, are you just going to ignore me while you're watching your TV show? Is that what's going on?
No,
Oh.
dude, I'm listening to your complaints. I got you. Oh, you didn't put that evolution stage on the bottom again.
Mm-mm.
Do you have like?
They don't come in with a +1/+1 counter.
Oh, that's true. You have like confirm, like submit 300 or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it was on there. And so, if nothing else, this is just a testament to all you other MGTA players out there that you can play the Magic game that you want, but they won't let you continuously play that game. Like, in the time that we should have been able to play this game, we clearly could have played 3 other games. This is what
No,
we
no,
call discouragement. No, we call this discouragement.
we're fine. We're fine. We're just sitting here having a good time.
It's calculating 251.
Tokens that it's not going to give you.
Right, so am I led to believe that the increase in time each time we do this is because it has the actual number of how many tokens I should have, even though it can only show 249?
No. We tested
No, we
that theory
tested that.
too.
No, I know, but I'm just throwing it out there. Like, dear, again, Magic the Gathering Arena, we want to like your product more than you'll let us. You're actually making it so that we can't like your product. And, like, you shouldn't, because it's a pretty sound product. And we want our multiplayer, starting with 4 up to 12 players. I said it. And if
Up to
this game,
12.
hear me out, you should be able to handle it. It's a card game. It's a card game. We're not even chatting in the game, we're chatting outside of it. It's a beautiful game. You can do this. Yeah, Keith, if Twitch shooter games can have like teams of 16 versus teams of 16, and Fortnite can be a battle royale.
There it is. Yeah, I told you. I told you it was
And
going to end in a draw.
Fortnite can be a battle royale with 100 different people playing at once. Yeah, I kind of feel like Magic should be able to hold.
Told you it was going to end in a draw. You needed to play that land.
Tell you guys what.
Say, you needed to play that land, man.
So, that was wild. That was absolutely wild. I don't know how I feel about that. It kind of did what it was supposed to do. It kind of didn't do what it was supposed to do. Scoot Swarm kind of was the answer. Isn't really the build direction I was going in.
So, I want to let you know what happened on my end there, right?
Alright.
So, the turn before that, like my turn, I paid the 2 extra mana to draw a card, and I drew a board wipe, right? Which I would have drawn on my turn anyway. But because I paid the 2 extra mana to draw a card, I didn't have enough mana to play the board wipe.
It's just goofy. Yeah, this is hilarious. I mean, like, that was the best that my deck could possibly do. I'm kind of glad that, I threw on the thing to start recording it by the end of it. I wish I had just been recording the whole time. But I can't stand the fact that it's not even year 1. And as stated by you earlier, you know, we could go play Duel of the Planeswalkers and go play Two-Headed Giant right now. What's the issue? Like, what is the issue, you know? And I don't get it. You know, it seems to always come back to being things sort of but not related to, where they're like, well, they couldn't do a league for it. And I'm like, that's really okay, though, because people still pay for other cards, especially if they're playing in these formats. You know, like, one way or another, you're getting your money from us because people are playing the game, you know? And instead, it's like, here's chromatic, you know, dragon pet. I noted when I clicked on my cat, it changed colors. That's new, right? But game still lags out if we add integers over the number of 256. It's silly. It seems kind of silly. I note there's not an option to just disable animations of large, you know, duplication, let's say, if nothing else, because it clearly knows if it's doing something a bunch of times, so that if it does come up 5 times, 10 times, 50 times, it just says that. You don't have to sit there and click it. You know what I mean? And that lack on foresight, that's what I'm grimy about with them, because it's not going to happen all the time. But if it can happen in our game and that can crash it out, it can certainly happen in 100 games or 1,000 games. And if people are having fun on the same level we are, it's plausible to suspect that the lag in the system is nothing more than the system's ill-fated attempt at handling cards that it put itself up there. So what gives?
Dude, some
Yeah.
people suck.
Well,
Sorry, sorry, that was Tom Segura.
I I I just don't get. You know, I'm gonna bring it back again to the whole thing about the Nintendo shares in the board meeting. The money is there, just waiting. It's the fruit is resting on the vine. I don't get it. Like, we're supposed to be speaking a language they can understand too. Hey, we'll pay for it if you make it right. You know, like, I'm not willing to accept shoddy programming for a free to play game simply because it was free to play when you have a fan base that just wants to be able to hit like replay, you know, reset up match. You know, would you like to play multiple matches of this instance to be able to just easily change the deck, right? Yeah, why not? Why can't we have a table with more than 2 people yet? Why not? You know? Like, there's not a real good, strong, sound reason, but there's always a reason to be moving into new game types, into new metagame challenges. I see all this shit up there. We have all this new content coming out. This shit wrote itself. They didn't program new decks because, I mean, I'm sure they have to some extent, but I mean, overall, Magic is cards coming out. It doesn't need the online facet. So, again, what's the holdup? The online facet is literally to be able to put it in a competitive sense in our hands. Why not?
That and they don't just print the card shape in paper. Tell you,
Hmm.
man, this like whole like 5 different versions of the same card, 6 different versions of the same card, based on the card that you discard to it. Done.
It's weird because I don't like to discard cards, but I saw a couple of them that weren't bad. Hold on, I'm gonna kick it up for you real quick. Um, specialize, and let's go with all collected, not connected. Collected.
What's after 3?
I know. I'm trying to be quick about this. This wasn't a very long thing because I'm not gonna look at each of them. It was right near the top. Yeah, I got a human rogue trickster. So when I deal damage to a combat player, I exile an instant or sorcery from my graveyard. If I do, I tap target creature opponent controls, right? So the trick here is that I'm going to discard one of my instants and sorceries to freeze one of your creatures, right?
It sounds like to me.
And that's if I did a blue card. And then the white one says if I exile the card, I put a +1/+1 counter on each creature I control. I guess that's not terrible. That's actually pretty
I
good.
wonder how those work as a commander, right? Because you have to only have cards within the color identity of the card. But are they always classified as all 5 colors, or do you have to classify them as 2 colors?
Historic Brawl. Let me find out. When you pick her, you have to pick the commander with the specialized color you intend to use. So
Oh,
literally upon picking her on my screen right now, it says choose one. When selecting commander with specialized, choose one additional color to use in this deck building.
so it is exactly the choose a background option, just without the backgrounds. That's so lame. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. I understand that Arena should be a little bit different than the Paper Magic because it is a virtual client, so they want to do fun things.
Guy,
But
I had
it could
half a
just be a
heart.
different card.
I just had half a heart to be like, wouldn't it be cool if that counted as all five of the colors in that one card? It would be neat.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean? Because then
And
you
then
can
you could
stack a
choose all
deck.
5. Yeah.
Right, and nobody can really tell what you're doing, and you kind of have directions, but no, we're single targeting that. So if it's your commander, you're really just still stuck. Like, nah.
But like for me, I'm like, why don't you just print the card the way it is in paper? And then if you want to also make those cards, right? Make it a different person, right? Like my
Well,
favorite thing
I,
is the elephant angel, right?
dude, that gives me.
Lulu.
Yeah, I'm not okay with that.
But when you right click on her to see her other pictures, depending on the color, right? Her eyeball changes to that color. So if you choose the Boros one,
Yo,
right,
that's.
her eyes turn red and she just looks like she's gonna murder somebody. So it's like this happy little winged
Yeah,
elephant that's gonna murder somebody.
that is unfortunate. That was actually the first one I noted it on when I was doing it, where you had to right click on them to get them to do a thing, and I didn't realize it right away, but I turned away and I was just like, wow, that elephant's horrifying, and then all the other colors you don't really notice it.
She's an elephant angel
Yeah, I know
too.
that's horrifying too. See, I like the idea, but I like the idea in the sense that I like it needs to be in a deck that can have all the five colors. It really needs to. It needs to have that versatility. If it doesn't, it's too directional. And then most of them, it's not even that it's directional. Two of them are really gonna suck nuts. One of them is optional. One of them's decent, and maybe one of them's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're always, realistically, if you're playing for it, you're gonna play the best
Right.
options. The
It's
card
not.
is just already.
They don't even have like the diversity to really kind of look around and be like, holy shit, do I want to aim it this direction or do I want like cool, I wanted to play it as Boros colors, but I ended up only pulling like, forests and islands. So like
The
can I
worst part
play
about it is, right? Like if you look at a card like that and you're like, okay, I want to play the Boros version of it, right? Is the Boros version of the card better than just playing like another Boros Legend?
well, that's what I mean. Like it would be a good situation if I'm being able to benefit a common theme in a direction. But in the overall use of it, it's just like the majority of them are just like if this creature attacks, create a 1/1 soldier. And I'm like, oh, so they all just kind of do that, huh? So like that creature that just gives all my creatures -2/-2 shits all over all of that in the Boros direction. There's no here's Boros with a ladder to try and
And
help
you still
this man.
gotta jump through the hoop, right? You still have to discard the card to turn it into the version that you want to play.
Yeah.
So you still have to cast it, then you still have to pay the cost, and you have to discard a card of the appropriate color.
Yeah. I mean, I got excited when I put the list up initially, and I wanted to believe, like, okay, this is going to be really cool. Maybe I'll have a couple of these different cards in there. And then, like I said, everything was just so straight laced that by the end of it, I was like, well, three of these are doing the same exact thing, and not really giving me a sense of, like, diversity. You know what I mean? It's really just like repetitions on a theme. What are the likelihood that you're going to overlap them? And I get it, but I kind of feel like what a neat idea. Wait, are these all? Yeah, these are all. Oh wait, no, there's some uncommon. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, no, they're because what they are, like I said, they're the choose a background legends, and they very easily could have implemented the choose a background part. They very easily could have done that, right? Because you choose what you do, is just like companions, right? You have a companion section, a little marker, right? And then if you choose a companion and it doesn't meet the criteria, it goes, you don't meet the criteria. Do you want to put it in the deck anyway? Right? They very easily could have been like, I choose a commander with the choose a background path. Then it brings up the background. I choose one of them. It goes into the background section, and then I have a background and a commander in my in my command zone on the side.
Well,
It would be. I'm just like, and they put effort into this, right? They put like art assets. They hired people, right? And like what? Not all of them, but some of them have different arts, based on like which color combination. Like the Gith lady, if you discard a blue card, she becomes like taken over by Illithid, and she got
yeah,
tentacles
but
coming out of her mouth.
yeah, but if they were just happy making money, they would have closed their mouth or whatever Mike Shinoda said about Zappa telling them when Zappa told them, right? Like, you're making money, it's good enough, and that's not it. So they go to the great length to make it look like it's going to be something like a new gate potentially opening. I'm all excited being like, oh, cool, maybe the next set's going to have a whole bunch of gold cards in it. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, well, right, but then that's kind of backwards useless because
No,
then,
well, we already know the two real sets coming out this year is going to be Dominaria United and the Brothers War. Because what's going to happen is story wise, the Dominaria is going to get prepared for the new Phyrexian War, and then the Brothers War is Karn is going to planeswalk and he's going to travel back in time to get an artifact that is necessary to defeat the Phyrexians.
mhm.
And since he's a silver golem and he's the only person that can do it, and then they're going to tell the story of the Brothers War through that story arc. So those are the two sets we're getting this year.
Are we going to get like a throwback to Saga and all that? Or.
Yeah, well, the Brothers War is supposed to be the story about when Urza and Mishra fought right before the Ice Age, and it's gonna, so hopefully they give us a bunch of like cool little like throwback stuff that, where we get a bunch of like Urza's armor and stuff like that. That's hopefully what they're gonna do. But the set before that is gonna be Dominaria United, where everybody goes back to Dominaria because everybody knows that the new Phyrexians are planning another invasion, so they have to go to Dominaria and get everybody on board.
That will almost certainly be gold cards, though, won't it? If it's Dominaria?
No, like
Was that just how Odyssey played
realistically,
out? In
well,
Invasion?
realistic, like the invasion block only happened because everybody like during the Phyrexian War maybe. But like if you look at Dominaria itself, like how many gold cards were in Dominaria?
Okay, okay, fair enough.
You know?
Right,
So
they were a neat addition, but it wasn't really like brimming with them.
yeah, so like you'll get a couple of them, you'll get a couple legendary creatures that are gold because they have to feed to the commander players, and you'll get a couple like maybe like 3 or 4 new planeswalkers. Maybe some of them will be multicolored, but realistically, it's gonna be like the part that sucks is a lot of the old legends are either dead or died of old age, right? So like, who they bringing up, like who they. That's why during the Brothers War, they're gonna like go back before all these people died, and they can print like
Yeah, I
cards
mean,
for these
I
people.
listen, like they could straight out just be like, "Hey, we're gonna bring in, all of them." I wouldn't be upset. You know what I mean? There are plenty of like old cards that I would go out of my way and through this system to make sure that I had to try and make decks out of, whether it was 60 card normal decks
Yeah.
or if we were playing, commander
I just don't
decks.
understand why they do that, right? Like on Moto, like actual Magic Online, they don't put
Mm.
every card on it. They only put the cards that they think are going to be popular in formats. And then like later, like paper formats, certain cards get popular and they have to add them later.
Mm.
And I'm like, just make all the cards, like make the cards. And then you have Arena, right? Well, they're like, oh, well, we're going to try to put Pioneer on here, but we're not going to put like every card from all of the sets legal in Pioneer. And I'm
That's
like,
what
why
that's
not?
do you see what I mean though? That's what I mean. Like, so all that work to kind of cripple it that way, and
I'm
I
just
just
like,
want
what?
to
I
be
got to
able to
open
hit.
Llanowar Elves 7 times from 7 different sets, but you won't give me this other common?
Right, and
like they need to take Arena and really like they're like, well, we don't. This is what they said. They're like, we don't want to add multiplayer because we'd have to start from the ground up. And I'm like, then fucking start from the ground up,
Right, get
right?
started on it.
Yeah,
Like
like do
we
like
play it with our friends. You like part of the fun was that if you have three people, you can play three people in a fucking game. You're really crippling the fucking game to make it 2v2 everywhere we go. We're not doing tournaments and I'm not winning packs for doing a pre-release online. Add that shit and yes, I might pay money to do a pre-release game just so I can have the fucking cards 2 weeks before they come out. Right? Like, yeah, make it as real as possible, but don't limit it, you know?
and add they. And I was like, and add the dusting system. Add the dust. They're so against this dusting, like adding the dusting system. It kills me, right? Like if you're gonna nerf my cards, give me wild cards when they get nerfed, right? Give me my money back if you're gonna change the. Like I said, those are not the cards that I paid for.
Why does it feel like I do get dusts when cards are getting banned?
You don't. What they do is they give you the alchemy version of the card. They're like, here's the alchemy version, right? But the version of the card that you bought and put in your deck, right? You
Yeah.
can't use in that format anymore,
So
right? So they
originally,
removed the card from your collection and
yeah,
gave
yeah,
you a different version of the
but
card.
before the alchemy version came out, didn't they give us wild cards then?
Only if it got banned in a format. Now they don't have to do that because now they changed
Mm,
the card.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
because the card is still technically playable, they don't give us wild cards anymore because they didn't they just give us the other version of the card. And I'm like, I don't want the crappy version of the card, right? Like I didn't buy the crappy version of the card,
Right, yeah, not right,
you
right.
know. And then they turn around and I'm like, and then I got to open up like once again I got to open up four of the same uncommon that I've just recently opened in the last two sets, right? In this set, so that I could fill out my vault progress. Like I'm tired of opening up Llanowar Elves. I'm tired of it. I got like four different versions. They're all the same art. Like let me dust those into other commons. Like 'cause that's the big thing. Compared to its two major competitors, which is Hearthstone and Game Links, are the two major like digital card games. Both of those games have a system where you can disenchant your cards and turn them into other cards.
Do either of them have multiplayer?
No, Hearthstone doesn't. I don't know about Duel Links because I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh.
So is it like do you understand where I'm confused at like why we can how can we do like I said, a game like I admit, yes, it's probably a lot less complicated to be like Drew has 100 health and a rifle in his hand, and Keith has 100 health and a shotgun in his hand, and they're standing in these directions at these coordinates. Probably easier to do that, but it's not what we're asking of them isn't impossible, you know? Like
No,
this
because
was
they do it on Moto.
well, I was gonna say it's possible with VGA graphics. So like, what like it has to be deliberate. I'm asking a question to eventually frame my work
Well,
around the
it is
idea that
deliberate. So the problem is that when Arena was originally created, it was designed to replace Standard. That
hmm
was its original purpose. I don't know if you remember, but when Arena first came out, like Kaladesh and all of those were the Standard sets. And when they came out, like Ixalan and whatever, those sets were available on Arena. And people spent money, and they bought packs, and they opened up things, and they played Standard.
they didn't
Okay?
have to spend money, but they did play.
Right? And then, when those sets rotated out of Standard, Wizards deleted the cards from people's collections. Because there was no historic and whatever,
Right, I
right?
do remember that.
And then people got pissed because they lost like hundreds of dollars in digital cards.
Well, I mean, that's on them though, personally, because like they came out and said this program is to run standard. So I'll give them that in as far as that. However, the minute that changed, why the fuck do you think that we want to keep our cards if not to be able to play our cards and
Well,
be
this is
able
the
to
worst part, right? Then later they added historic, but then didn't put Kaladesh and not Ixalan back on the platform, right? So everybody who lost their cards, they just lost their cards. And then like a year later, they released Ixalan Remastered, and people had to re-buy the Ixalan cards. And it didn't even have all of the cards from the
Oh, I
two
do
sets of
remember
Ixalan.
that. Yeah, I do remember that.
And then they made Kaladesh Remastered, and they didn't put all of the cards from Kaladesh and Aether Revolt. So not only did people get their stuff deleted, they didn't get it back, and then they had to rebuy it, and they had to rebuy not all of their stuff back. And they're like, now they're saying, if you ever watch like the monthly announcements, what they want to do is they want to put Pioneer on Arena. And where Pioneer is a much better format than Standard, right? We're missing like 17 sets.
To be
Right,
able to make
like-
it relevant, right? Yeah. So it's like
Right?
a
And
great
I'm like,
idea,
so you
but-
have to release those sets, and you have to do it in a manner where everybody doesn't have to spend $300 a set to get their cards.
Mhm.
Right? And then on top of that, they're like, oh, well, we're not going to print all of the cards from those sets. We're only going to print the cards that are relevant to Pioneer. We're not going to print, like, the stupid stuff. And I'm like, no, you print the stupid stuff because I want to draft those sets to get cards. Right? And if you don't make all the commons, then you're putting multiple sets into a single draft environment and not giving me all of the stuff from those sets.
Like kind
Like,
of.
I will-
I mean, like I'm all for critical fail too. Like you have to be able to draft a bad card and look at it, and then there's that once in a lifetime chance that you look at your bad draft card and you're like, holy shit, this combos. This is the one circumstance where it can combo. Otherwise,
Like, don't get me wrong,
Why did
if
you
they
print the
made-
card? Why did you make the card? You know.
If they made a set that was like every Ravnica set into a single booster pack or whatever, and it was like Ravnica Chaos Draft, like sure, I would have a blast with that, right? Like I would do that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
But,
lie,
like-
that would be dope.
At the same time, like you made 9 Ravnica sets, right? Like
Yeah.
print 9 Ravnica sets. Like it's not right. Like I understand the line of code will take a while to program 17 sets into Arena. I know that,
Right.
right?
I'm not gonna
Arena's
deny
pretty
that either.
buggy.
Right. I'm not
Right,
gonna
but,
deny
like,
that either.
I will give you the year. You know, like, it shouldn't
but
take
you're
more than a
not-
year.
But you're
because
not
they're-
right. You're not coming up with new cards that didn't exist before, so it's not like the data doesn't exist on how these cards will interact and play. You know, you're not introducing 9 new Ravnica sets. It's 9 tried and true Ravnica sets. The
Most
coding
of them
can be
having
done.
the same abilities too, so it's
Right.
not even like you have to program like 30 new abilities. Your
Right. Most
Rule
of the
has
shit has keywords.
Bloodlust.
Yeah, most of the shit has keywords, right? Yeah, don't overcomplicate this shit. That's what I'm saying. Like they're not writing code. We're not making the cards write
Right,
the
and,
code
like,
for us.
Bloodlust functions exactly like Spectacle, right? So just take Spectacle, and instead of reducing its cost, have the creature come into play with X plus encounters. Right? Like, the code's already there with minor tweaking. Boom, you have all of the Ghoul cards settled.
Dude, believe me when I say the whole thing is just scripting, like Matlibs, and all it has to have is a target and an argument, right? This isn't hard to code at all. That's the beauty of it. It's beautiful in its simplicity, and somehow in its own simplicity, it's creating a problem of its programming, right? It shouldn't be that hard, I would think. Like, little things like the thing we have having, why does that happen? Like,
Well, you know, why does the game end in a draw?
Right, like, so, listen, I get that when, the duplicate raptor comes out, I can't think of its name.
Oh,
Polyraptor.
the Polyraptor.
Yeah, I get that when we broke it the first time, but when that was a thing, and it wasn't even just us, anybody, you know, you could be playing a match and somebody could Polyraptor and you'd let them just to watch the game crash too, right? And, like, so it's a thing. Well, why wasn't
Well,
that
they
thing
implemented a system for that, by the way. There's a system now in play for the Polyraptor combo.
Well, I get that,
It-
but not for the overall problem with creating too many instances or overworking the system, and that's absurd.
Do you remember what the problem was? What their solution to it was? So now, if you do the same action 11 times in a row, whether you have choice or not, the game warns you that you have to take another action or the game will end in a draw. and then if you do it 3 more times, the game just ends in a draw. So
Huh.
you have to watch the Polyraptor thing happen 14 times before the game ends in a draw.
But that's because the whole instance is a whole cycle, right? Not like the
Well, what
sweep
it
row.
is that the problem with those is that they're not May effects, so they actually end the game in a draw legally. The problem is that they can't make Arena determine whether it's something you can control or something you can't control. So now they implemented a thing where if you just do the same thing too many times, like the game yells at you, and then if you continue to do it, the game just ends in a draw. Um, and that's their solution. Like treat every aspect of doing something that many times in a row. Right, which sucks. Which means that if on my turn, say me and you were playing, right, and I had an infinite mana combo where I could tap a creature, then untap it, tap a creature, and untap it, or whatever. If I did that 11 times, the game would tell me I would need to do something else.
Hold on a second. I'm having the throwback. Somebody just texted me that they need an Uber, and I have to give them the horrible news that I lost my car in 2019. Right. It just says I need an Uber and tells me where they are to where they're going back to, and I'm like, dude, I ain't got no car. I can't. I don't know what to tell you. I don't
You're like,
recognize
you're
it.
like, you're like, dude, that was 2 years ago. Who is this?
Dude, the numbers hitting me strange. I'm only okay with it because it's local area code. You know what I mean? And like, I handed out business cards, so I gotta be kind of okay with it to an extent. But like, I'm not getting nothing back. I was hoping I'd at least get a message back that was just like, oh, my bad. But I've had people do that were like, dude, can you Uber tonight? And I'd be like, dude, I really wish I was Ubering right now. To an extent, like, it was rough. I didn't.
Today, my dad was like, "Can you go get the KFC or whatever?" I looked at him. I was like, "You want me to get back in the car?" no, no part of me wants to see the inside of that car.
Yo, I just feel like they have the product. They are their own market. They already produce their own cards. They don't have to do anything special. You know, I don't understand where the disconnect can be between their internal company and this branch of the company to just make it functional. You know, are they, why would you put, function into a free to play game? Because if everybody's sitting at the Magic the Gathering arena lobby, we're not doing something else. So we are 100% more likely to spend money in the Magic the Gathering arena lobby than we are somewhere else, aren't we? You know what I mean? And like this still just doesn't set with them. They destroyed malls across the world for us. There's no arcades anymore, right? But like just open the doors and make a good product and people will be there. They could make a multiplayer version just taps into your cards for your library's sake, right? Why
Oh,
is that so
well,
hard?
but actually, I brought this up the other day because I had this conversation with somebody else the other day at Games and Friends.
Mm-hmm.
What really makes me mad is they still put cards on Arena that do stuff based on how many opponents you have.
Right.
Like there's like that
Giving you the
white legendary
promise.
creature that when you attack for each opponent you make a 1/1, right? And I'm like, why is this card worded this way? Right?
And it gives you the promise forever, and then just another, you know what I mean? Like, no, it hurts. It hurt. Quake Champions hit me that way. I used to really enjoy playing that game, and over the years of playing the game, I even got a better system. And somehow, when I even got a better system, the game just got stronger and stronger in the opposite realm. And all Bethesda could say was like, "Oh, you need better equipment. You need better equipment." And I'm like, dude, the game lags out when my opponent gets close to me. I go from a 360-degree first-person shooter to 90-degree left-hand turn with some lag and latency. I can't shoot anybody like that. And the trigger here is the enemy's proximity. Well, if they ignored it long enough like they did, and I can't play the game. I want to, but I can't. You know? And it's like, why? I don't get that. Why would there be such an onus to make such a, do you get me?
Jimmy said that's why he stopped playing WoW, but it wasn't for WoW's problem. It was his internet. Apparently, because gotta take it as a grain of salt because it's Jimmy. But he was
Not
like,
all the
apparently, every day at 7 o'clock, his internet just went to shit. Right? He was like before that or whatever. He was like, my ping was like 12. He was like, then 7 o'clock would hit and my ping would be like 3,700 or whatever. And he's like, this happened every day, at 7 o'clock. And he was like, and I couldn't raid because raid started at 7:30. And he was like, and then it would last until 11 o'clock, and that's and raid ended at 10:30. And I was like, okay. And he's like, but then I would see him on like Lost Ark and on League, and I'm like, well, your internet only sucks if you play WoW though. Like I'm like, maybe. And then he was like, yeah, so he was like calling up his internet provider, like yelling bits or whatever, all this stuff. And it was saying that because his internet is run through Chicago, that was the problem. And I was like, why is your internet run through Chicago? You're in New England.
How can that be beneficial to you?
I'm like, what? And I was like, are you sure, like, at, like, 7 o'clock isn't when, like, your mom gets home or your sister's home and everybody's doing stuff on the internet? And maybe might be why, like, your bandwidth's just not high enough or whatever? Man, like, I'm happy that Jimmy's back. Don't get me wrong, I am happy that Jimmy's back.
Hold on. Hold on.